All right, y'all. I've made you wait long enough. Sorry about that. I meant to do one continuous video, but as I'm prone to do sometimes, I instead of pausing the recording, I stopped the recording. So me not having the knowledge or the tools to edit videos together, we just do two videos. So just bear with me, guys. So I got some good news, I got some bad news, and I got some good news. The good news is I checked on these guys just a little while ago after the last time you saw me. Everyone is alive and well. The bad news is the centipede bolted on me while I was checking on it to see if it was okay. The good news is I got it back. So I'll explain a little more about what happened with that when we unbox it. But first, let's start with the freebie, which is a tarantula spiderling. A non-duchromatus, the Brazilian red and white. Absolutely stunning adult tarantulas. And they get quite large as well. They are a terrestrial species from, well, Brazil, South America. And they are very brightly colored as adults with beautiful white striping on the knees. And they get pretty good size. They're pretty beefy bodied tarantula. So it'll be interesting to watch this one change. One thing I wanted to note, I'm going to do a little bit of review on Exotics Unlimited while I'm doing this video, was the way they used moss as a plug here. I've never seen that. Usually it's a piece of tissue and the end is long and it's folded over, or they use another tissue cap. I really like the moss idea. That was kind of how the centipede bolted from me. But like I said, we'll get into that story here in a minute. So that's a really good touch right there. I do kind of like that. And then I can just put that down in the enclosure and use it. And then the spiderling is right down in there. And I saw it earlier. And these tarantulas are like a lot of your old world spiderlings. They're pretty just dull, boring spiderlings. But once they start to get older, they start to show those adult colors and those adult markings. And any of you out there that know about non-duchromatus, you might be able to see those knees right there. It's already starting to show adult colors. So that is excellent. That means it's a pretty well-started spiderling. So we're starting off pretty good so far. Let's see how it wants to behave. Let me think about how I want to get this thing out of here. Well, let's try the old Tom Moran poke and pray method here. Let me get the lid ready, just in case I need it. And let's see if I can convince it to come out, and then we can get a look at it. Okay, here we go. It was a little cool this morning, so everybody's probably going to be a little slow, except for the centipede, LOL. There we go. Nice and smooth. See if I can show you guys these knees real quick before we put it down in the enclosure. This is the second non-duchromatus I've ever owned. The first one was actually given to me by a friend of mine, and now you really can't see those markings on the legs. And it was a penultimate male, and unfortunately the day I came to pick it up, it was in a molt. It was on its back. And I checked on it after it got back to my house 2 days later, and it was still in that position. So it got stuck in the molt and died, unfortunately. So hopefully we can watch this thing grow. I'm trying to show. You can start to see the start of some of that banding right there on the legs. That was kind of, oops, the adult colorations that I was talking about, that it's already starting to show. And many of you probably already know what they look like. So, but if you don't, you can Google them, Google images of them. They're absolutely stunning spiders. Okay, since the camera doesn't want to focus on the spiderling anymore, let's see if we can get it down in the enclosure nice and smooth here. Said it is kind of a little bit of a an advantage or whatever that it was a little cool this morning. So the spiderling is a little bit slow and not very bolty. And now that I'm looking at it, I think this enclosure is going to be absolutely perfect for it for half of its life probably. So there we go. That was the first one down. We have our non-duchromatus in its brand new house. Now let's get around to the good stuff. All right, y'all. So this is the one that I have been dying to show you. I can't wait for you guys to lay your eyes on this beautiful specimen. So here's what happened earlier, right? I took the lid off, noticed the moss plug, and thought I should get something to put this moss in. That way I can just put it back in. So pulling the moss out, I pulled all the moss out. I could see the centipede down at the bottom, but it wasn't moving. It made me really nervous because these things aren't cheap and they're pretty rare. So I decided to give it a poke in the rear end, which looks a lot like the front end. We'll kind of get into that in the video once we get it out. And I noticed it start to move, and it turned back toward me. And I kind of anticipated that it was going to come out, because if you know anything about centipedes, they're not like tarantulas a lot of times where they'll bolt a short distance. Once they go to moving, they're moving until they find another good hiding spot. So what I did was just kind of tilt the vial down, hold it over the moss. It actually came out of the vial and disappeared into the moss. So then I took this tub of moss into my bathroom, put it in the bathtub, dumped all the moss out, found the centipede, got it back in the vial, put the moss back on top of it so we can unpack it like it was packed. So here we go. Excuse me. Without further ado, here is the enclosure. And here's another thing that I want to mention about Exotics Unlimited. Their communication is pretty exceptional. I've actually already been in touch with them like 3 times since I picked these animals up a couple of hours ago. And one of the last things I asked them, after you saw me, I was back in touch with him. And I asked at this stage if substrate was necessary. And they informed me that they keep them in 2 inches plus of substrate with some moss. And so that's what I have replicated there. There's approximately 2 inches of substrate, and then a thick layer of moss and some leaves because I like the way it looks. And then you'll notice over there in the corner that one weird looking object. That's what I'm hoping will be a hide. This may sound like a foolish idea to a lot of you guys, but here's what I was thinking. I'm a cigar smoker as well. This is an aluminum cigar tube. What I did was cut the fixed end off. It has a hinged lid on the other end. So I cut the fixed end off, filed it all down nice and smooth and everything, and then stuffed this thing with damp, or not stuffed, but put damp moss into the tube. Hopefully it will want to go in there and hide and be comfortable, make itself at home. And then hopefully that will be its hide until I have to rehouse it. And here's my thinking. When I have to rehouse it, hopefully it will be in this tube. Now, I'm not going to use my thumb. I'll use a card or something, but I'll just plug this end off, take and put it in the new enclosure, pop this end open, and then poke it out. So that's, might seem like a silly idea to some of you guys, but I mean, I've seen dumber stuff out there, like people putting Hot Wheels and Lego figures and stuff in their animals enclosures. But anyway, to each his own. We'll see what happens. Let's quit blabbing and let's get this thing out. This should be fun because if most of you know, centipedes are fast. They are also, they have an advantage because they have a long body. So centipedes actually cannot climb smooth surfaces, but they can scale them. They'll, just like a snake, they could use 2/3 of their body to come up and then get up high enough. They're over the lip of this and they're out. And you don't want a centipede loose in your house. And now that I've added that 2 inches of substrate and that moss, we're right at that limit. So again, we're just going to cross our fingers and pray. But I am going to get the lid ready. It may be in the way for a minute, but that's just so the animal doesn't escape. But what I'm going to do, something like this. Again, this one was packed like the other one with the moss plug in there. I think what I'll do, face it this way. I don't have anything big enough to hold that vial, so just use my hands. And then I'll add this to the enclosure because I'm sure it will appreciate the moisture. Now I've got more moss. And of course it's down there hiding in the bottom and not moving like it was earlier. Let's see if maybe I can give you guys a look at it, just a little peek real quick. You can see some blue and some red down in there. So I think what I'm going to try to do now maybe is pull this tissue out and leave the centipede in the bottom. It's not moving, so that's good. Alright, there we go. Now we can take a look at it before it starts going all crazy, because it will. What an absolutely stunning little animal this is. So let me see if I can get it out and we can look at it a little more now that we can kind of see here. Let's see. The paintbrush is not going to be long enough. I have to use the bamboo skewer, I guess. As I mentioned, this is the first time I've ever purchased a centipede. I've owned 2 Scolopendra dehani, but both of them were given to me as freebies, and one of those actually came in its enclosure, so there we go. And it is out running around. One of those Scolopendra dehani actually came in the enclosure, so I've not had much experience in moving centipedes, but I mean, I've had enough experience with how they move and how fast they can be and all that kind of stuff. And so I kind of knew almost a little bit what I was getting into, or what to be ready for, which was, of course, that they are pretty fast. Would like to get it out in the open just for a little bit, but it's wanting to be very shy and hide. Which is fine, as long as it is comfortable. Okay, now I've lost it. Alright, well, let me dig around for a little while, and if I can stir it back up, I'll give you another look at it. If not, we will be getting some more looks at it, because I will definitely be doing more videos on this guy. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I hope you did enjoy it. You will let me know with a thumbs up and a comment. Share this video, and if you haven't subscribed, please do that. And guys, take care of yourselves and each other, and have a fabulous day or night wherever you are. Thanks for watching. God bless. Alright, y'all, we freaked it out long enough. I'm going to put all this moss back in. We're going to leave it alone, let it settle in, maybe feed it in the next couple of days. And you can see right there how it can almost scale up the side and get out. So we'll be rehousing that one pretty soon. I hope you did enjoy this video. Again, thanks for watching. Take care. God bless.